Hey everybody, figured I'd do my last live chat before I get my surgery on Wednesday. I was going to do one tomorrow night, but I got a couple appointments with folks, so I just figured I'd do one now and just hop on in here. Got my Bruins shirt on, waiting for the big game tonight and see if anyone is here to join me. It's going to be a big game tonight for sure. The Bees going into St. Louis down 3-2. Bad call the other day. You can't say it cost them a game. Just like I was telling my friends who are Saint fans, one bad call towards the end zone. I mean, the Saints still had to step up the defense. What's going on, Dan? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. And then having the Saints, they still had to stop the Rams in overtime. Hello, Tina. So the Bruins, the refs missed an ultimate blatant tripping call, led to the game-winning goal. But at the end of the day, you still got to make the stops. You still got to put the puck in the net, and they couldn't get it done. So big game tonight. Fire away, Tina. Fire away. Absolutely. I figured I'd jump on here and see if anyone wants to join me, and we'll just make this quick, or we'll take whatever we need to do for sure. So fire away. All right, so big game tonight. Nervous. I predict St. Louis 5-1. You heard it here first, and we shall see. So while we're waiting on Tina's question, one thing I've been reading out lately is that the value has been getting crushed from growth over the last 10 years or so, but in particular 5 years. So I'm looking at a chart on the I'm not familiar with David Bach. I don't know. I'm not sure, Tina. So I don't know anything about him. Sorry. So value is up 35.51% over 5 years. This is the U.S. Vanguard Value Index, the VTV, which is what I just bought the other day, a couple months ago, I guess. And VUG, the Vanguard Growth Index, is up 63.95 over the last 5 years. So that's a big deal. Value is way underwhelmed. And the interesting thing, preferred stocks are the PFF. So there's three ETFs I'm looking at here. The VUG, the Vanguard Large Cap Growth ETF, over the last 5 years is up 64%. The VTV is up 35%, and that's about Vanguard Value. And the PFF preferred stocks is down 6.3%. Interesting, huh? Hey, Jimmy, what's going on, man? So anyway, the contrarian in me says there are opportunity and value and preferred for sure. So let's just go back to, we'll say 10 years here. Bear with me just a second. I just look at Yahoo Finance, my friends. They got this nice chart. I've been using this for a long time. So I use Yahoo Finance, literally for going back to 1998, I guess. All right, so over 10 years, going back to 3/9/2009, and what's the relevance of March 9th, 2009? So the first person who answers that correctly wins $1 million. Not from me, but maybe from the Zimbabwean government. All right, so while waiting, so remember, March 9th, 2009, why is that significant? All right, so let's answer a question here from Dan. Wonder if I should use my 401k at age 62 and delay Social Security, or is it better take, I don't know anything about you. Market low, right on, Rick. So you win $1 million of Zimbabwean cash, okay? So enjoy that. One of these days I'm going to find my $1 trillion Zimbabwean dollar bill I had back here, and it's back here. Look at this. Some guy sent this to me a while back. This is an income tax return from 2000 and I think it's 16. When it first came out, the first year of income tax, 2016, it was literally a 4-pager. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. Income tax, freaking nuts. I have a $1 trillion Zimbabwean currency, but I don't know, it's back here someplace. All right. So Dan, you want to defer taking Social Security and take your 401k without question, especially if you're married, without question. Yeah. Okay. So it looks like answer. So anyway, so going back to March 9th, 2009, which is the market low, like our man Rick said, VTV, the value is up 190% and growth is up 290% and preferred stocks are up 37%. That's the issue. And let me see if I can't show you this to you. I don't know if y'all can see that flat. That's probably be tough to see. You see, it's gonna be tough. See that the purple down here? That's preferred stocks, and it's just flat. So you've averaged 37% over the last 10 years. So that's not gonna get the job done. Hey, Reven Riggin, what's going on, man? So the bet man in me says value Fed. I was just reading an article from Market Watch. Yeah, I didn't think so, Jimmy. It's maybe I might do a video on that tomorrow, tonight, or something like that after the game or before the game. But basically, what you have is preferred just staying flat, where the other two things are just going way up, and the growth is just kick butt. So I was reading an article from Market Watch today. I was actually quoted in Market Watch yesterday, which is kind of frightening because they didn't. I mean, it's cool, but they're just reading this debate I was getting into with these guys. On some guys are a hell of a lot smarter than me, who are doomsday guys, and we're debating this thing on advisor perspectives, and it was maybe not as polite as it should have been from their side. I was pretty polite. Anyway, and they quoted me in Market Watch, and I didn't see the whole article, but it was interesting, saying that I don't believe in a retirement crisis at all. And I don't know, they probably hammered me on that, but it was cool. Your old buddy Josh getting quoted in Market Watch, I thought that was pretty cool. All right. Yeah, I don't know, Rick. That's the question. And it's a great question, though. Does it include dividends? My inclination is it does, because on the two indexes, you'll see the dividends, the price being dropped because of dividends, like from the X date and whatnot. So I have to assume it includes dividends, because you can actually see the price is dropping. So it doesn't say on Yahoo explicitly if it does or not. I think it does, because if you look at what I love about Yahoo is you can go back and see the date, the prices on the date, and adjust it for the dividend payout, which is big, because if it's just price to price, who cares? But with the dividends in there, it's a big deal. So I'm going to say yes, but I haven't looked too deep into that. I just know that when you look at Yahoo Finance, it does adjust it for the dividends for sure. So presumably the same case will happen there. And Frank, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know why I would prefer. I mean, 37%. If you're getting, I get it's not compounding. I mean, this is the difference between compounding and just basic, interest, like a bond. Bonds don't compound. So I mean, why would it only be up 35 or 37%, especially with the interest rates? Well, they haven't really. Well, they've been kind of fluctuating. They haven't dropped off. They haven't. They haven't gone up. So the prices of the preferred shouldn't be getting killed, because interest rates haven't gone up. I don't get it. I don't get why I don't get it. I'm confused why PFF would only be up 37%, and it's got. Let me just double check. It's got to include dividends. How could that not include dividends? I'm just going to look at the price per share each day, and we shall see. But that just goes to show you, if you put all your eggs in one basket, like all my eggs are in the VTV, the value index at Vanguard, and that's actually pretty stupid. So let me just go to historical data on the PFF, and we'll see what we got here. Yeah, right there, dividend includes dividends. Why would preferreds only be up 35%? I don't get it. So it's starting to pour out. I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss why the PFF would only be up 30. I mean, if it's yielding 6%, the price, there shouldn't be a whole lot of volatility in there. I'm at a loss, my friends. Why you got to be diversified. You just don't know. Bear with I want to see what the price. We got $35 It's range $35, 35 to 37. Hold on just a second. I'm going to go back and see what this was in. Let's go back to 2015. We'll see what the price was in 2015. Just to get a gauge. Right now it's at 36.61 is the PFF price. Let's go to monthly. Right there. In 2015, it was at a Bitcoin breaker record. Okay. Yeah, right on, Jimmy. Go Bruins. We shall see. Like I said, I predict 5-1 St. Louis. Just because I'm a pessimist when it comes to that. All right, so 2015. PFF, the price was at 2015, the price was 39. So I'm at a loss. So I don't know if Yahoo's numbers are right or not. That doesn't make sense to me. The price is at 39 in 2000. That's 2016. And 2015, 39. And right now it's at 36. So we've had, a little bit of a decline. I guess that's about right. If you got 6% is the preferred dividend, roughly going back 10 years, and it's not compounded. So 6 times 10 is 60%. That's 60. And then you have a 10% decline in share price. I guess that makes sense. That's nuts. That's nuts. So that just shows you the that just shows you the yields. If they don't have growth in there, you could be really holding a wet bag. I'm actually stunned by that. All right, my man Gary or Jerry says Wealthfront has a 2.51 FDIC insured savings account. Yeah, right on. Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Bitcoin will break a record in 2 years, says Jason. Graham, that guy Graham Stephen, whatever his name is, he had a pretty good video on Bitcoin, and it's somewhat conspiratorial, whatever. But it made sense to me about one of the reasons why Bitcoin has taken off the last few months. I don't know if it's true, but I thought it was interesting. I don't mess with Bitcoin. I just cryptocurrencies. I just haven't gotten into it. But now going to the question here, my waste of time. I do hold precious metals. I hold some actual gold, and I think everyone should hold some actual gold. I used to be really into it, but now just nothing wrong with 4% of my net worth. I don't have 4% of my net worth. Of my liquid net worth and net worth, two different things, but you definitely want 4% of your liquid net worth in gold and or silver. Last time I checked, gold was still at $1,300 an ounce. I think silver was at 15, I can't remember, but something like that. But yeah, you hold the actual gold bullion and the silver coin or gold coin. That inherently makes sense to me. I haven't bought some in about 2 years. I need to buy some again for sure because I'm a big fan. So anyway, going back to the undervalue of, man, I can't get over this with preferred stocks. Would I buy preferred stocks right now? You're not going to get growth out of them just because they don't compound. It's just like anything that doesn't compound. Compounding is what makes everything work on the stock market. The dividends compound because the dividends are reinvested into a higher share price, which is compounding into a higher share price. Preferred stocks aren't like that. Prefers are just high yielding bonds. There's just no other way around that. There's just no appreciation there. I'm disappointed by that because I love prefers, but after 10 years in an interest rate environment that's just kind of puttering along, to have it only up 35%, that's not good. Then you could be. Then if you're going to be in stocks, and prefers are stocks, they still don't have any authority when it comes to if the company goes kaput, you don't have any rights to anything as a shareholder in preferreds. You just have rights previous to the regular dividends, common dividends from prefers, but that's it. So you have less risky endeavor in prefers than you do for stocks, but you just get a higher interest than you would on a bond. And prefers are taxed much more favorably too. So. Yeah. Anyway, that's interesting. I'm still kind of interested by that. I wonder what prefers would look like, and I didn't do like a diversification. What would prefers have given you a break when, like in August 2011, the markets were getting killed. I wonder how prefers would have given you as a backstop against that. I bet it would have been pretty good. Small caps got killed in May of 2015 or 16. Internationals got killed the following year as well. I bet prefers would have given you a nice backstop against that. When I interviewed Craig Israelson for my podcast, he has this 712 portfolio. So you got 7 silos. You got stocks, bonds, cash, real estate, commodities, a couple other things. But he doesn't have anything for prefers, which is interesting. All right, so how do you buy gold? Oh, wait. Reven says, how do you check on how good a financial planner really is? Any way to check on the track record? Yeah, well, I don't know what the track record would be, Reven. This is my problem with the whole industry is the track record is what? Based on market performance. So that's not a financial planner. That's an investment manager. So How do you check on a track record of an investment manager? Well, that's, unless he's running a mutual fund, he'll never admit or just because there's nothing to check, because each client theoretically has their own individual track record. So that's where I wish we would get away from, not you, but the industry. I'm a financial planner, and you can check on my track record by investment performance. That's an investment manager. That's not financial planning. Well, I do both. You can't do both. I'm just sorry. There's not enough time in the day to do. If you got you're playing around the market to try to get alpha, which alpha just means outperformance relative to index, you're not doing tax planning. You can't do both. It's impossible if you're truly trying to get alpha and you're watching the markets with one eye on this and one eye on that, that you can be talking to people during the day to talk tax planning. You can't. I don't get it. It's a full-time job or it's not. And if it's a full-time job, then you're an investment manager. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but I wish these guys would stop calling themselves financial planners when they're actually investment managers. So the question I'd rephrase to you, Rick Riggin, is to say, not how I check the performance of a financial planner. How do I check the performance of an investment manager? And that you just don't know. I mean, because unless he's filing something with the SEC, I mean, he could be pulling anything out there. He could say, oh, my performance is what? And I say, and I'd simply ask, well, based on what? I mean, because I'd be like, well, your performance is that for who? Grandma Jones up the street or Joe Risk Taker down in New York City? I mean, it's a completely different situation that relative to you. So what I say all the time is, if I'm looking for a financial planner, someone to help me with taxes, insurance, make sure my allocation is correct on my investments, the whole line of questioning is going to be different than an investment guy. And the questioning should come from the financial planner, not that you're questioning him, but he's actually questioning you. Like, what the hell are you trying to do? Well, what do you got? What have you done so far? What's your experience on financial planners? What are you trying to accomplish? Did you have your durable power of attorney? When's the last time you actually looked at your 1040? What kind of life insurance do you have? Have you ever done an in-force illustration? All these things would be a financial planner asking you, not you asking a financial planner. You're saying, hey, financial planner, make me some money. I mean, that guy would be like, if somebody said to me, I said, that's not my job. I'm not making anybody money. And I'll tell you, go to Vanguard. That's what I'll tell you. So if that's what I'd suggest to you, is it really depends on what you're looking for. If it's an investment guy, he says, look, I charge my clients what I think is a fair fee to get the most growth they possibly can relative to the way I see the market as the investment guy. That's the guy you want to go with, because then you're saying, no, I like what he's talking about. He says, I'm not putting my portfolio on based on any specific your situation. I'm putting on the way I can maximize performance to the clients who invest in me. Like Warren Buffett. He doesn't say, well, Joe, I'm going to invest your money over here, but Jane, I invest your money over there. No. Warren Buffett just invests the money in the most profitable enterprises he sees. And you can jump on board or not. It doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He's like, look, this is the way I do it. You want to buy Berkshire Hathaway? You're buying me to maximize your portfolio, ideally. So if you see a financial planner / investment guy, he goes, well, I can't really say because each client's different. Well, that's okay. I mean, that's how do you know? I don't know how you would, and that's the problem. So what I'd say is, do your own investments with Vanguard, or just even hire somebody like my man Dustin over there at Jazz Wealth, who can do it for cheaper. And a year from now, you say, I made 10%, the market was up 12%. That's not good. Or I made 12%, the market's up 10%. That's pretty good. And just roll with it from there for sure. JM Bullion, Dan, that's where I bought my gold and silver, is jmbullion.com. They just fantastic. I love them. Could not recommend them more. Rick says on the iShares website, it says it had a 10-year average return of 11.81. Damn. That's not all right. Well, then it's freaking Yahoo, man. That's good, but how can it? I'm looking at Yahoo right now. See, Yahoo, Market Watch, and even Morningstar. All three of them had different numbers for various funds I was looking at before. Just like a week ago, I was looking at something. They all had three different numbers on Vanguard. I went to Vanguard, so I said I'll go with that. That's nuts. So Yahoo is saying PFF has a return of 10 years. Of what, 65%. That's not 11.58%. I don't know that's weird, man. Well, here it is. It's saying 8.1% over 10 years. I'm at a loss. So I don't know. Well, it's cumulative. Yeah, I don't know. I'm confused by that. That doesn't make sense to me at all. There's something not kicking in. So here's Yahoo Finance saying for 10 years, they've had an average annual. Now, this is it arithmetic or geometric? I can't remember, but I think it's arithmetic. 8.1% is their average return over the last 10 years, or PFF. But since March 9th of 2009, it's cumulatively returned 65%? No, 35%. But it had the dividends as I don't know. I'm at a loss. It had the dividends in there as an adjustment on the price. Yeah. Just go to the horse's mouth. Go to iShares. Go to Vanguard. Go to the company that you're looking at. It's crazy. How are 1 ounce gold coins good as a prepper asset? If gold pops to 5K, plus how to use it from buying family. My problem with 1 ounce gold coins is they're so flipping small. Tom and Flora, we lost one. All right, I lost it because they're small. And I actually emailed Jay and Bullion. I said, "Did you actually send me 10?" And they showed me the video of them putting it in there 10. I said, "Damn," because I put it in my Easter basket for one of my kids, and then something happened to it because it's tiny. I mean, it's like smaller and lighter than a penny. So I'm not a fan of 1 ounce gold. So if I was going that route, I get silver. So you get the 1 ounce, it's 1/10 of an ounce, excuse me, 1/10 of an ounce. That's what I'm talking about. 1 ounce. Yeah, no, I got you. So you got the 1 ounce gold coin, and that's $1,300. No, I got you. So you don't want to, you can't, that's what I was doing. I was buying 1/10 of an ounce gold coin so I could use it as an asset if I ever needed it. Now, don't do that. Do silver. I'm telling you, to 1/10 of an ounce coins are too small. So do silver instead, because at least it's silver, $15 an ounce. I mean, you can get a real, you can put your hand on it. That's the way I look at it, because the 1/10 of an ounce is too small. Maybe quarter ounce ones would be fine. The 1 ounce ones, you obviously don't want to, use that to barter for a can of beer. I mean, that's, you don't want to do that. So you definitely want a smaller one. Probably quarter ounce is probably the way to go. That's $250, but a bunch of silver too. That's what I do. 1 ounce gold coins. Yeah. No, right on. That's what I mean. See, he did meet a financial planner. I've looked into an investment wealth management company, and they have an in-house financial planner that you can use if you want to for an extra fee. Yeah. IVV, what's S&P 500 shows a 15.85%. Yeah, that makes sense. The S&P 500 is up, roughly 16% a year for the last 10 years. I bet that to be true. Preview my upcoming Social Security book. Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you asking that, Phil. Man, I've been working on that sucker a lot the last couple of days. I'm on my next to last chapter now. And this chapter is titled Chapter 12, Even More Reasons to Be Optimistic About Retirement. In the last chapter, so what happens is, Phil, is we're looking at, and I just got 28 tables so far, something like that. So the title is You Can Retire on Social Security. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the median household income is $60,000. And we're just going to go into it. And I'm going to show you how, if your median household income is $60,000, and we're going to show you a married couple. And I talked about singles will be a little bit different. If your household income is more or less, it'll be a little bit different. But I like the median because that, 50% of the people have more, 50% of the people have less. And more people who are in their 60s are married than singles. So we're appealing to a larger audience than singles. This is not to exclude singles. It's not. But at the end of the day, this is where I think a lot of people are misled to think, oh, my goodness, I can't retire with Social Security. And the answer is simply just wrong. It's just incredibly wrong. You can, without question. And now I'm not even using any outside assets at all. And I'm just going to break it down. So I'm going to show people how it works. I'm going to call her Julie. Karen is what we said was going to be her name, but I've used Karen too many times, so I'm going to call Julie as my sample. She has actually given me permission to use her Social Security statement, which I use in the book, and I'll use on in the the course I'll do as well. And I'm going to break it down from how her indexing works with her index year. She was born in 1958. It's just going to be start to finish. We're going to say, this is what her statement looks like. This is what we can extrapolate from her statement in terms of average index monthly earnings relative to her PIA. If she takes that 62, 66, and if she's 66 in 8 months, 70, this was her spouse will get, and just the whole thing. We're going to go over that as a real world example, how to figure out your Social Security. And then we're going to say, okay, now we're going to use a sample of median household client at 60 years old with $60,000 a year in household assets. How can they retire on Social Security? I'll prove it. I'll prove it right here. It's easy. It's easy to do once you figure it out. And then what we're going to do is say why I'm even more optimistic about retirement, because I haven't even used the idea that most people's spending drops as they hit retirement, as they get older. And so again, so you think about it, this whole thing about a retirement crisis is premised on this idea that no one's saving enough. And I'm like, they are saving. They're saving like crazy into this thing called Social Security. 6.2% on you, 6.2% on your employer. So this guy was arguing that, well, that doesn't include disability. Disability, or the 6.2 includes disability. I'm like, dude, what happens when you hit your full retirement age? Your disability becomes your retirement benefit. It's like nuts. It's like, why is everyone so negative on this stuff? The only thing I'm negative is on these guys, because I was born that way. When it comes to retirement planning, it's nuts. And so I'm like, dude, you're paying 6.2%. That's what you're paying. That's what your employer is paying. He's like, that's really only whatever it was, 5.5. Huh? Yeah, it's like, anyway, it's weird to me. I just don't understand. And then, so you say 6.2, that's 12.4%. That's a fact. So if you are working, 12.4% of your income is going into your Social Security benefit. This is not debatable. Not debatable. The average balance, or the average savings rate, 6% as well. And so this guy's also great about the average savings rate. I'm like, it's weird to me. It's just weird. Anyway, so the average savings rate is not quite the median. I get that, but we don't know what the median is. So we're saying the average is 6%. Plus your 12.4 is 18.4% is what essentially you're saving, the average person is saving in for retirement planning. So with Social Security paying, in this case, $60,000 is your median household income, and we can replace that $43,000 after taxes, FICA, and scoring away 10% your 401k. So we can replace that with simple Social Security planning, 100%. And I show you 6 different examples that can be done. So right there alone, we know for a fact we can replace our income with Social Security. We know that for a fact. On top of that, we haven't touched at all about any other savings that you have. And I think someone is reading the median 401k from Fidelity is like $63,000. That doesn't even include all the other plans that are out there. It's just Fidelity's stupid study. But still, if they say if you have a 401k plan and it's with Fidelity, the median account is $63,000. Look, that doesn't mean anything for their population at large. I get that, but at the end of the day, it's still $63,000. Millions of people have. And so we're not even talking about that yet. And I'll talk about that as well on top of the 10% that some people are saving. Some people might not be. It's fine. But either way. Then finally, this is where I'm going to close up saying, at the end of the day, the likelihood of your spending increasing each and every year with inflation, there is no evidence of that. We have the evidence going the other way, which is your spending goes down each and every year with inflation. It's crazy. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about, but what about, we're going to answer all the naysayers on Social Security is not solvent. I interviewed Devin Carroll yesterday, as a matter of fact, or Friday. I interviewed Devin Carroll for my podcast, which I'll post tomorrow. My man, Devin. So Devin, good guy. You all know Devin Carroll. He's got a great website and obviously his YouTube channel. So I was able to get him on the horn. I interviewed him as well. So I'm looking forward to putting that on there. So Devin and I talked about the solvency of Social Security. And we both, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but we're both in agreement that the idea that they're going to take away Social Security from current recipients or even soon-to-be recipients is silly. It's going to change in some capacity, but it's not going to change where it's going to be taken away. He and I both think it will probably be mean tested more. That means that if you're making higher income, whatever that is, you'll probably either have less of a benefit, you'll have to pay more taxes, or we don't know. And I don't even know what the higher income is, but it'd be means tested more along the lines of like Medicare recipients, how it's means tested. If you're married filing jointly and you have 170,000 of modified adjusted gross income, your premiums for Medicare Part B and Part D are 35% higher than your premiums would be if you didn't make that kind of money. Something tells me Social Security come along the same way as well. Or they might even have a fourth bend point. If you have more than 7,000 a year of your average index monthly earnings, your fourth bend point, it will go from 15% to 10 or something like that. I mean, there's some way to means test it. We both seem to agree that that's probably going to happen. Anyway, so what else was I saying here? So we're going to talk about the solvency of Social Security. Everyone's like, all right, I had a lady, I don't think I'll be there. And I'm like, just show me the evidence. Where is the evidence that Social Security won't be there? And there is no evidence. We're going to talk about what about healthcare and retirement? I'm going to show you from the EBRI. I got a study here that I'll refer to quite a bit, which I've referred to in the past. How many people actually go into a nursing home? It's very, very few, actually. We're going to talk about studies of bankruptcies and medical bankruptcies from the NCBI. There's a lady who's on the Civil Rights Commission named Gail Harriet, who writes for Instapundit. So if you're libertarian-minded, and Instapundit.com is a law professor from Tennessee, and Gail writes pieces that she links to on Instapundit. She had written an article in 2005, totally taking Elizabeth Warren to the woodshed for her lying. There's just no other way around that. And unfortunately, just like the stupid plastic straw stuff, the minute the lie goes around the world 20 times, the truth is just getting its boots on. And so we're going to talk about the healthcare study that medical bankruptcies is a facade. That doesn't mean there aren't people going medical bankruptcy. I'm not saying that. Just like the likelihood of it happening to you is completely not very high. Doesn't mean you won't go to nursing home. I'm not saying that. It's just the likelihood of it happening to you specifically is not very high either. The likelihood of Social Security not being there is it's silly. It's almost to this. It's like arguing CO2, in my opinion. The idea that CO2 we're all doing because CO2 is just 350 parts per million in the 1930s, and we're going through record heat waves. Now we got 400 parts per million, and we're not going through record heat waves. So just explain that to me. Did you know, by the way, the glaciers in Montana, they used to have this thing from the USGS, United States Geological Survey, that said this glacier will be gone by 2020. You know what they had to start doing? They had to start taking it down because the glacier is not there. It's still there. Interesting, huh? Did you know that they've been saying that glacier will be gone? Last 100 years, they've been saying it every 10, 15 years that glacier will be gone, and yet there it is still. All right, so let's see. That's my book, my man. All right, so I hope you enjoy that, Phil. Jim Proctor's from Michigan. What's going on, Jim? I listen to self-retirement YouTube shows, and Josh, you're the only one saying you can retire on Social Security. I'm going to prove it, Tina. That's my book will prove it to you. Now, if you need 8 million billion to retire on, Social Security is not going to get the job done. The vast majority of people in America don't need 8 million billion to retire on. Why do we know that? Because the vast majority of Americans aren't making that kind of money. The median household income is $60,000 a year, which means inherently 50% of the people are making less than that. So we know for a fact that if you're living off $60,000 a year, you can make Social Security your sole retirement income. This is not debatable. It's just not. Now, if you're making more than that, it might not be the same thing. It might be a little bit of a stretch for sure, depending on what your income needs are, which is why everything comes to income needs. And if your mortgage is paid off, you're going to be in good shape. If your mortgage is paid off and you got a pension, we are done here. You can hang up and never see old Josh on YouTube again. We are good to go, guaranteed. But unless you start smoking, freaking crack and, start going out there and selling it. But as long as you keep your nose clean, you're going to be just fine. Let's see. Here's a sample spending budget for Junior book. Enjoy your videos. Thank you, D. Whitlock. You said in a video to raise Social Security tax like $35 would fix the problem, but how many times do we allow them to raise tax? Yeah, well, I mean, that's how many times they actually raise taxes, though, Jim? I mean, that's the issue. I mean, McCain said that a long time ago. He said at some point we're not going to be able to go to the tax cut because not that many people are paying taxes anymore. I mean, the facts are I think over half the people in the United States aren't paying any income tax, the feds at least. So, I mean, a tax cuts now inherently only affect the rich. So at some point you can't start going. There's got to be if you're going to raise revenue, at some point you're gonna have to raise the taxes on the middle class taxpayers. And how you do that without freaking people screaming bloody murder, I don't know. But if you do it with a bipartisan legislation led by Trump, which I think it could be his way to cement his legacy forever, saying we are going to raise payroll taxes on you and you, $35 to solidify Social Security so we don't have to ever go through this again. I have a sneaky suspicion the vast majority of us on the right would be, you got it, buddy. And I have a sneaky suspicion a good amount on the left would be as well. And if they were to do that and they were to flip the bend point, the second bend point, make it not 32%, but let's say 37, 38% to give those beneficiaries a raise at the same time. So you're saying we're going to raise your benefit for the middle class and we're going to raise taxes at the same time. Bipartisan legislation would go by swimmingly, I should say, other than, I don't know, I guess, the Mitt Romneys of the world who hate Trump and would Schumer go along with that? I don't know. Probably Schumer would. Some of those crazy Wendell's out there probably wouldn't. I'm trying to think who's the most radical out there now. Warren, she wouldn't, sure, because she's crazy. I bet Bernie probably would as well. I don't know. Maybe after the election, but I think Trump would get he doesn't need to get that many Democrats. He just needs to get a few. Tulsi Gabbard, is she a senator or is she just a congresswoman? I think she's just a congresswoman because one crazy lady from Hawaii, she probably wouldn't go on it. But, some of these people would on the Democrat side. You get 55 people on the Republican or 53 of the Republicans minus Mittens, and then you get 6 or 8 Democrats, and you get that with 60 votes, and that will go through easily. Do I get in the market all the time? I just get all at once, Daryl, just be done with it. Market 60, on any given year, 60% of the time it's up, something like that. 40% of the time it's down. So the odds are stacked in your favor for sure. You have to watch this. Yeah, well, just obviously pension funds is a big issue for sure. Absolutely. There's just no two ways around that. We've been knowing that for a long time, without question, which is why you can create your own pension by not having a mortgage on your home. That's why I look at it, S. Chandler, as I say, if pensions are doomed and Social Security is doomed and the dollar is doomed and, we're all going to die from freaking acid rain or whatever it is, the thing of the day. At the end of the day, if I don't have a mortgage, at least I know I own my house, other than property taxes. I mean, that will give you the comfort of knowing all you got to do is come up with a couple $1,000 a year to pay the property tax bill, and you'll be good to go. So I think that's the benefit of not having a mortgage from my perspective is at least I have a roof over my head. Just Discover You says, Dobb style, let's do some content about borrowing from 401k for down payment on first house. Tired of getting hosed with rent, but not sure what the right move is. I'm not sure I'd borrow from a 401k to pay a down payment on a home. Borrowing from a 401k to pay high credit card interest, I like, my friend, but because you can increase your net worth. That's not debatable. I mapped it out for you to see that you can literally increase your net worth by borrowing from your 401k to pay high interest credit cards. Down payment on a home, I don't know. That's a little bit different because the cost to borrow is so cheap on that side nowadays. I don't know. That's a different one. But look, if the FHAs, you need 5% down, and the only thing you got is from your 401k, I'm not going to argue with you. Now, remember, the max you can borrow is 50% of the vested amount or $50,000, whichever is more. No, whichever is less, right? Yeah, whichever is less. So $50,000 or 50% of your vested amount is the max you can borrow from your 401k. So if you're going to borrow, I don't know, if you got $50,000 vested account, the max you can borrow is $25,000. $25,000 on a $200,000 home, it's like about 12.5% or something like that. It's not bad. That's not a bad play. I don't have any qualm with that. None. It's not as cut and dry as borrowing from your 401k to pay off a credit card, though. I look forward to your book because your outlook makes me believe I'm ahead of the retirement game. My estimated Social Security at 70 would be more than enough. Yeah, right on. Tina, yeah, exactly. Your estimated Social Security at 70 would be more than enough to live on. And I think the Social Security Administration, if you look at, they got, like Devin was saying, they have thousands of pages. they use synonymously retiring and taking Social Security as if one is the same as the other, as if they're synonymous. And I don't use it like that. When I say retire, that doesn't mean you're taking Social Security. That just means you're leaving your crappy old job to do something else. It might be something else where you have an income coming in. All right, so you might go on YouTube. You might raise chickens and sell eggs. You might do it anything. I don't think, and I just think Social Security says retiring is synonymous with taking Social Security. I don't believe that. So I hear all these people say, well, I don't want to work till I'm 70. Well, you don't have to work till you're 70. Just don't take Social Security till then, or 66, or full retirement age, however you want to do it. But just because you leave your crappy old job at 62 doesn't mean you have to go to take Social Security then. Let's see. Why do they say we're an extended bull market? Because we haven't had a bear market, even though I would suggest the latter part of the fourth quarter was a bear market. It was down 19.8% or something like that. So for me, it's a bear market. So that's why they're saying we're an extended bull market, because we haven't had a bear market. But close enough for government work, close enough for me. I don't believe it. I guess going back to value stocks over growth stocks. That thing from MarketWatch, that value stocks are the cheapest they've been since 2000. And if you remember 2000, value stocks, you guys might be too young, but value stocks are getting killed. No one wanted value stocks. PE ratio on value stocks are just low. PE ratio on growth stocks are incredibly high. And that's what the issue is there, kind of going back to where we are now. The PE ratios on value stocks, the price to book, the price of sales, the high dividend rates. That's why I'm all in value, VTV. If you look at it at the end of the day, it inherently makes sense. Value, how come it has outperformed? Because it's more risky. There's a reason these stocks are trading at low prices relative to their growth-oriented peers. They're riskier. No other way around that. Everyone thinks value stocks are safer. No, there's a reason why they're low, because they're riskier, because people aren't buying them up as much. They like Amazon because of the story, but they don't like GE, right? I don't even know what GE is trading anymore, but GE would be a perfect value stock. I don't own it outright. I'm sure it's owned in the value growth or the value index from Vanguard, but I have no clue, and I frankly don't care. Would you recommend using money from your 401k or your Roth to pay off your mortgage? 401k, absolutely. Ideally, you don't touch a Roth, but this is I just did a video I just posted right now using some guy had sent me an article about the 72 T's, separately equal periodic payments, 72 T's. I said, I don't like those because they don't hardly ever work the way they're anticipated. So I like the idea of having a Roth instead, simply because if you need money, at least with a Roth, you can tap into the principal without paying taxes or penalties before you're 59 and a half. But other than that, I'd much rather, Tina, that you did not tap into your Roth as long as you delay it as long as you can. Get rid of that 401k as much as you can. If that means convert to a Roth, that's fine. But I just tell you, having Roth and Social Security, if you hit 70 years old with nothing but Roth and Social Security, Tina, you're never paying tax again. Isn't that nuts? Ever. You'll never pay Medicare premiums. I mean, you'll pay Medicare premiums, the regular 135 for Part B and 35 for Part D. You're never going to pay higher than that. You have no income at all. You'll have no income at all. Your 1040, I don't have the new one here, will show a big fat goose egg, because Social Security is not taxed if it's your sole source of income. Roth IRA is not taxed. Together, Social Security does not even recognize your Roth as a source of income. So your Social Security is not taxed. Your Roth is not taxed. Thus, you're not taxed for the rest of your flipping life. That's fantastic. If you can get there, you are in a wonderful place to be. That's the whole point. You think about it, you're like, man, I get $80,000 a year from Social Security and Roth. It's completely tax free to the feds, the state. Yeah, I got a feeling the vast majority of Americans can live just fine on $80,000 a year tax free. In fact, hell, I'd say the vast majority of Americans will live just fine $50,000 a year tax free. It's awesome. But you got to do something. People got to know how this works. I'm just going to keep deferring money and going to keep kicking it down the road. No, stop with that crap, man. Everyone's like, I'm going to kick it down the road because I heard deferrals are the way to go. Well, it might be, but it's not for the vast majority of us, because a median household income is $60,000. So even if you're married filing jointly and your gross income is $60,000, you're just barely in the, you're right here, married filing jointly. You're halfway in the 12% tax bracket. Halfway. That's it. If you're single, let's see, you're just a little bit in the 22% tax bracket, but the median household income is $60,000. That means the majority of Americans today, I'm not ready to say the vast majority, but I bet it probably is, are in the 12% tax bracket. That's it. So deferral means I'm deferring 12% taxes for some future date for what's my tax rate going to be then. Well, if I have big RMDs from my IRAs, 401ks, plus my Medicare premiums, and the big RMDs now kick in, makes my Social Security 85% taxable, which it might affect my Medicare premiums. Just deferral as a default is nuts. So I say the Roth should be the default, and deferral should be proven that the deferral works better for you, not the way we've been trained, which is defer at all costs and then maybe do the Roth. That's to start drawing from your 401k, does it first need to be moved to an IRA? No, as long as whoever holds your 401k has it, as long as they allow you to do it, they can do it for you for sure. Wicked Seymour, I like value too, and I'm considering moving total stock money into a value index fund, but the bank and energy stocks, well, that's the issue with value. You're always going to find something that scares you, man, because that's the whole point. That's why they are value, because they're risky. That's all there is to it. No one told me that moving 401k to the Roth IRA reset the 5-year timeline. Let's see. The government isn't going to like that. They may start euthanizing the elderly if they're not paying tax. Yeah. Well, you never know. You never know. I think of you 3 times a week. Oh, man. Dana Kern. I think of you 3 times a week as I sail by Peaks Island and Casca Bay, loving retirement and loving your videos. Man, the smell of the ocean water. Everyone thinks the beauty of the ocean is the smell and the seagulls and the sounds of the buoys and the foghorns. Oh, man, my wife doesn't like that, Dana, but, man, I could listen to that all day long. But the smell of the salt water, going down the dock and the action on the boats that are coming in the wharf and whatnot. Oh, man, that's awesome, Dana. As you sail by Peaks Island in retirement. That's fantastic. You can bring a tear to my eye. My company has both traditional 401k and Roth 401k. Everything I have is traditional 401k. How do I know if I should convert to a Roth 401k? Jade, man, all right, the first default is if you're married, all right, then I would, just because, as I talked about when I started this whole YouTube channel, was a widow's tax trap. You don't want to leave your husband or your wife, whatever, to get hammered from a taxable distributions on 401k. So if you're married, I just look at it like this. The default should be the Roth. Prove to yourself the Roth is bad. Now, if you're in a high tax bracket, 24% or higher, and you don't have that much money in a 401k, say you got $50,000 or something like that, it's probably I probably wouldn't do it at that stage. But if you're a 12% tax bracket, remember your tax bracket is after standard deduction. So you can, if you're married filing jointly, you get $100,000 of income, you're only in the 12% tax bracket. Everyone says, but Josh, $78,000 puts you in the 22% tax bracket. Yeah, that's $78,000 of taxable income. So if you're married filing jointly, Charlotte and me, and let's just say we made $100,000, and this is before our tax credits over here. We have $100,000. We subtract our standard deduction, which was at $24,400. So we'll just say 24 for simplicity. We're at $76,000 is our taxable income, which means only 12% tax bracket. Now, if I start converting money to a Roth very quickly, I'll get into the 22% tax bracket. But just goes to show you can't look at your AGI. You got to look at your taxable income to decipher what your tax bracket is. So if you're in the knee deep in the 12 and you got some wiggle room before you hit the 22%, I'd be doing the Roth 100% 100 times out of 100. Absolutely. Extenuating circumstances, I get it. I don't know what else situation you got going on, but I'd be looking at the Roth for sure, especially if I'm married. 49, want to retire at 60. I'll have a pension. I want to start taking it at 59 and a half, also 205 and a 4. Okay. I don't know. A single. Okay. So Jade, you're single. It just depends on your tax bracket at that stage. It's tougher to do tax planning for singles. The reason for that is because you don't have the two standard deductions. All right. You don't. And because it's easy for me to say that me or Charlotte will be in a higher tax bracket in the future simply because I will die before she does, most likely. So because that, she's going to lose me. And thus she will be a single person without the 4 tax credits running around, which I can almost assure, without this big fat house with a big fat mortgage we're paying, which I can almost assure you will put her in a much higher tax bracket than she is in today. For a single person, it's not quite as cut and dry. Here you say, I'm in a 24% tax bracket now. If I got $1 million in my IRA and I'm only 49, like our man D Whitlock here is, just, he's got, well, not quite that much, but 750,000. That sucker is going to be probably 2 million by the time he's 70 years old. So now you take 2 million, you divide that by 27.4. He's going to have $72,990, basically $73,000 in RMDs his first year, man. So D Whitlock, you're 70 years old. If you're single, you got $73,000 of RMDs right there. You're going to have probably another $35,000 of Social Security, of which 85% of that's taxable to you as ordinary income. You're immediately going to pay higher taxes on Medicare, Medicare Part B and Part D. You're going to pay a 35% premium increase right out the gate right there. In fact, it might be a doubling if you're not too careful, because I think the next bracket is $107,000. And that's modified adjusted gross. That's not taxable income too, by the way. That's before your standard deductions. So now you factor in, $73,000 alone right there puts a single person into that right there on the RMDs puts them in the 22% tax bracket, and 24% when you factor in Social Security. So that's what you'd have to look at, Jade. You say, man, I got a pretty good IRA, 401k. You can't just look at today's numbers. You got to look in the future. What's going to be growing to? And I'm just saying, say you got $250,000 and you're 50 years old. At 7% a year, that's $1 million, man. $250,000. You're 50 years old. It grows at 7% a year. That means it doubles every 10 years. I'm not even adding any money to it. So now, Jade, and I'm just throwing you as an example, that sucker's worth $1 million by the time you're 70. And if you're single, well, we just told you what your RMDs are going to be. It's going to be $72,000. So see how it kind of affects everything downstream? You don't want that. You want to say, no, I want to be in control of this. So maybe pay a little bit more tax today to avoid not just income tax, but premiums on Medicare, tax on ordinary income or ordinary long-term capital gains and qualified dividends and all that stuff. It's only going to get worse. I mean, again, the government isn't running surpluses, and they haven't run surpluses until like 2 years under Clinton with Gingrich, and that's the last time they run surpluses. So there's no surpluses running. The government doesn't have this big checkbook that they can just start stroking checks to. They're going to need more, especially when it comes to Medicare, and more people go on it for longer periods of time. Only a matter of time. So just keep that in mind. I like the Roth. Now, people say, like Rick Edelman. Actually, it's funny. I had a friend of mine over Rick Edelman. He was mad at me. He said, "You're talking SHIT about our firm." And I said, "Well, I'm happy to have you on the podcast to debate it with me." He can't. I mean, he didn't say this, but he can't, because he knows the firm won't let him say what he wants to say. And I said, look, I said, well, he's mad because I said, Rick Edelman, they're making a huge mistake when it comes to Roth IRA. And he emailed me and said, "What, are you mad about the Bruins? Huh? You're talking smack about our firm." I said, dude, I'd be happy to talk to us, debate it. I'd be happy to have the debate about it. And he never got back to me. I thought that's kind of funny, because he can't. He knows he can't. And it's just the issue. They know they can't say what's on their mind, because the firm says, no, we'll tell you what to say, which is one of the reasons I had to get out of the business. Couldn't be dictated anymore. Why was I going off that tangent? Oh, that's why Rick Edelman says about the Roth IRA. He goes, they're going to take it away from you because they need the taxes. Like, that's just freaking insane. I mean, that could be like, Fulton County, Georgia, they're going to raise their property taxes by $8,000 million. So you better not buy a house. I mean, they're going to say, I don't know, freaking, I have no idea what else is going to happen. They're going to say they're going to take their I don't know, what's her name? What's Stacey Abrams going to win in 2020 over Brian Kemp? He's going to ban guns. And I mean, all these things could happen. It's true. I could die right now on a heart attack. That's absolutely true. But to live your life with these silliness things out there is silly. I just don't understand it. What's the Obama? They always, I mean, my side is always worried about Obama. He's going to take, have freaking jackbooted thugs come to your house and take away your rifles. And it just never happened. I mean, that doesn't mean it can't. And doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare for these kind of things, but at the end of the day, these things are not likely to happen in our time. It could, but I'm not going to live my life on this. Like, I'm not going to do a Roth because Rick Edelman thinks that they're going to raise the taxes on the rest. It's weird to me. I just don't get it, especially when you have the voting power of the people who vote the most are retirees. So if they plan to do Roth, they're not just going to all of a sudden say, okay, Trump, you can take my money now, or okay, Bernie, what's the guy's name? Joe Biden, you can take my money. It's not going to happen. So I just don't get caught up in the worries too much. I got caught up in all that crap myself all the time. I hate it about myself. The other might be bad. I may catch up for a month. Yeah, I'm not sure. What about sacrificing subsidies? Yeah, see, that's good question, JD. And I did a video on this just yesterday about, so JD's question is about, look, if you get ACA, the Affordable Care Act, and you get subsidies for it, and you start doing Roth conversions, you're going to be paying more for your premiums. I just, I don't know. I just, I don't know. For me, if you got the money, we'll pay the damn premiums. That's the way I look at it. If you don't have the money, don't. I don't know. I just think if you're going to do or don't do the Roth, I got no problem with it. Look, I'm not making a moral judgment, but as much as I wasn't the biggest fan of the leftist government of Obama, I thought they was trying, at least he, I think, was trying to do right by people who couldn't get health insurance. And I don't think the whole point about health insurance and Medicaid is to allow people who have money to get in the system with subsidies. With Obamacare might have been, because the more he could get people on the government dole, the more they could basically ban private insurance. But at the end of the day, Medicaid, these safety nets, I don't think are there with the intention of allowing people who have the resources to take advantage of it. And don't take this wrong, please don't. But if you got money from the taxable perspective, where you're converting IRAs to Roth, and it puts you in a higher bracket for the ACA where you lose your subsidy, I don't know. That doesn't bother me at all. I get it. You don't want to do that, but okay, that's fine. Then don't. I don't know. It's a moral judgment on my part. It's going back to my whole thing with Medicaid. Medicaid is for poor people. All right, people who don't have any other resources. We are blessed living here in the U.S. to pay a little bit more. I don't know. It just doesn't bother me that much. It never has. I just say at the end of the day, you got to do. We're blessed. I mean, I don't know. So many people in my experience, they don't want to pay anything in taxes, and I get that. And you should do everything within reason to avoid taxes. That's not tax. This tax avoidance is fine. It's tax. There's one that's illegal. The tax avoidance isn't the legal one. Tax, or some other word, I'm drawing a blank on it. Avoiding paying taxes with a legal construct of the U.S. is fine. I got no problem with that U.S. system. But getting all caught up, and I'm not saying you're doing that, JD, to pay an extra, $15,000 for that year you're doing Roth conversions. If you had the money, then freaking just evasion. That's right. That's what it is, tax evasion. It just seems to me that, we voted, our side lost in that, and we got to deal with the consequence. And the consequences, if you're going to do the Roth conversion, because it makes sense to for the long term for you and your spouse and your kids, just bone up and pay the extra taxes. I can't tell you how many people say, I don't want to pay an extra penny. I'm like, but you're spending hours of time to avoid paying that extra penny. To Trump or Obama, it's weird to me. That's odd, but all right, enough of that. But I get you, JD. Man, trust me, I get it without question. 1 out of $3 saved are currently in the Roth. Yeah, dude, that's the way to do it. What do you think of 5-year multi-year guaranteed annuity presently at 4%? Is that a fixed annuity? Red Sox 101. Yeah, work harder. The national debt's not going to pay itself. Huh? That's even if you're working harder, man. All right, Sean, it's on you, brother. Win tonight back to Boston for Game 7. Yeah, 5-year fixed annuity at 4%. I'm all about it, Robert. I got no qualm with that in the least. It's 4% guaranteed, fixed with no risk other than the solvency of the insurance company. You're not going to hear arguments from me, not in the least. What kind of traditional IRA investment should a retired 75? Man, Robert, I'm not going to venture down that. There's way too many things that go with that argument, that question for sure. Yeah, right on, JD, and please don't take it like I was banging you there. It's I read that article yesterday about healthcare, and this guy's an anesthesiologist. He's saying he wants to keep the ACA credits or the ACA subsidies. I'm like, dude, you're a freaking anesthesiologist, man. I mean, what the hell? What is this? But it's $15,000 more I got to pay. You're a freaking anesthesiologist. You live in the United States of America. Gosh almighty. I'm not the big fan of QLACs, Robert. I did a video on it not too long ago on QLACs, and off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly why, but if you go back on my website, on my YouTube channel, and type in QLACs, I was disappointed in the structure of them, that's for sure. Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly why. Problem with healthcare is, I 100% agree, Jack. The bastardized version. We got government, private sector, and that's one side's going to have to win out. And my hope is that we have vouchers for the healthy, and we have a subsidy for the sick. And the healthy outnumber the sick vastly in this day and age with all the carbs and crap people are eating. Maybe not so much, but old Jack says I want to have catastrophic coverage. So if I don't go bankrupt for healthcare, and I'll pay out of pocket for up to $10,000 a year, and then health insurance kicks in, and we're going to give you a voucher for that. That's the way it should be. And then people who have pre-existing conditions, which are legitimate, I get it. There's a group for these people that we subsidize, so that way they don't lose their shirts and have to pay for the coverage. I got no problem with that. I'm pretty libertarian, my friends. I mean, hell, I don't believe in any prohibition. You want to freaking smoke dope? I don't care. You want to marry, that guy down the street? I literally don't care. I just don't care. As long as you don't hurt, if you want to smoke dope and freaking do what you want to do, I don't care. Just don't hurt anybody. I mean, same thing with firearms. I just don't care. Just don't hurt people. And the same thing here. It's like, man, you got to, but with the healthcare, we do have people who need help. Give them the help. But if they truly don't need the help, then they should fund their own way. The blessings of living in this country are so extraordinary. To try to manipulate it so you get every penny from the government just gives me the willies. I don't like it. All right, Sean, putting you on the hook, brother. I still think 5-1 St. Louis tonight. Go. The hell? Alberto. Freaking ban that guy. Freaking Alberto. It's over for the Bruins. I know that, but you don't have to say it. Hey. All right. Hey, just wondering what's your thought on school not teaching finance and why don't? I was reading an article the other day. This whole male toxic masculinity thing, which infuriates me. And now they're laughing at young men who don't know how to do the skill sets of previous generations. I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You can't say men are too toxic masculine, and now, you don't have the same skill set from just a working man's perspective on using your hands. I don't like it. I screw teaching finance. I just wish to teach men, boys, or girls too. I don't care. We have a good friend of mine, another Bruins fan, by the way. His daughter just finished welding school and built all kinds of freaking these awesome metal fire pits and stuff. It's fantastic. I love it. I think it's fantastic. How about maritime academies? I tell you, man, I want to teach my kids. Say, y'all should go to maritime academy. Screw this going to freaking liberal arts degree. You don't need that. Go to maritime academy, man. You want to learn how to use your hands and have fun and get paid, man. Or smoke dope with the guy you married down the street. Right on, Sean. Whatever rocks the world, just don't hurt me. Sean, I tell you, man, I'm telling you. You know what happens in the closeout games? They're always bad. Remember when the Bruins closed out the Canucks? That was great for us, but yeah, we'll see. All right, I guess I'll go, my friends. We'll see. We got 5:23 game starts in puck drop in about 3 hours. I'll probably go for a. Oh, I was going to say too, as you notice, I probably won't be shaving much anymore because I'm going to get my splint on. And with my splint, I'll have to go like this. And I'm not probably going to shave. So if you're wondering about your old buddy Josh growing some facial hair, please don't be offended. I don't like facial hair. It itches. And also I get spots in there. That's a sign of people who did bad things when they're young, if you know what I'm saying. But I will be probably growing it, but still your old buddy Josh. Hey, thanks, Jade. I'm nervous as all can be, man. I was listening to this podcast called Dr. Death about some guy who's doing spinal surgery in Texas. What if I get that guy? So, yeah, no, Bruins got to win. I tell you, $20 on the Bruins is Wednesday, JD. Right there. What's called rotator cuff surgery. Might look cute with the big. I don't know, Marie. It itches, man. I'm like, switch down here. And then, Hey, thanks, Robert. Appreciate it. Hope Massachusetts is treating you well, my friend. And that lady, Kara, up in Peaks Island, send pictures, man. You got to show some pictures. Send them to me, and I'll put them on the YouTube channel so people can see the beauty of Casco Bay, Maine. Just a smell. All right, guys. All right. Medicaid, yep, right on. That's right on. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Tom. Right.